Dynamite Delight. Now you see my title. And it's pretty explanatory, but I want to put it in frame before I get to this review. Most people would say, dude, you're saying the same old feuds? Yeah. We got some feuds that are the same old feuds that not everyone's going to be fond of. We don't want to reignite the same thing over again. And there's going to be people who are going to say, hey, great. We get a continuation. I wanted to see more anyway. It's going to be like that. Opening. Let's make this clear. Seeing a recording of Joe after World's End was a good spot. Talking about MJF and what he was going to take from him. And what he did. There was no problem with that. And I'm glad they did it. If they had not done it with Joe, they would have had to do it on Dynamite. And with as much as they've shown on the show, it would have been lost pretty much lost. So having him open the show with a pre-recording from World's End was the wisest thing to do. Not everyone would agree, but I believe it was the wisest thing. So, let's go to the Undisputed Kingdom. I'm doing it now. Don't normally do a segment, but I'm doing it now. Because we got very good segment from Adam Cole and pretty much everyone that is in his group. We got OG, we got the Kingdom, we got Strom, and we got Warlow. Of course, they didn't talk because this was about Adam Cole explaining why he betrayed MJF. And it was important. If he had not explained himself, we would start questioning what the hell is going on. It would have eventually started within this week or next week if he hadn't started explaining himself, like what happened with Brock Lesnar, with Cody Rhodes. No one explained it. And that's the reason why there was so much controversy. Here it was fine. He made it very clear. He wanted to destroy a MJF, who is the most conceited bastard that the company has ever known. Other than CM Punk, as many people would feel, and others would not. He was inappropriate. I'm saying it for myself. Punk was inappropriate, but he was not the worst bastard I've ever seen in wrestling. I'm just saying. But he made it very clear that there was not one person that he hadn't screwed over, not one person that he hadn't betrayed, not one person that has been treated like dirt by him. So he systematically wanted to destroy him from the bottom up. And he made it really clear. He's not the bad guy here. Because everyone was booing him while he's still in a boot because his ankle still needs to recover because he had double ankle surgery. He's making it clear, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not the one who did this. MJF did. And I'm glad he ain't here. He's never going to be here again. Of course, as we already know now, he needs some time to recover. And it's a good chance that he has re-signed with AEW, so it's a good thing. But knowing that they're making it clear that he's not going to be there for a while was a wise thing also to do, because he does have a torn labrum. And his hip is pretty still screwed up from that drop he did. It was ridiculous what he did. Why did he have to do that in that match where he basically does an elbow drop onto the concrete, even with pads? It was stupid, but he was caught up in the moment. He hurt himself. But clearly, let's make this clear. MJF being away, they've addressed it. That's good. And the last thing. Two things. One, he made it very clear that everyone in his group is going to get gold. And Warlow, who deserved to have the most respect, is going to be champion. But he made it very clear that when I recover, Warlow is dropping that title to me. Because that's what I deserve. But Warlow still deserves to be a champ. And he said to Joe, he said, great doing business with you. And I hope when Warlow is ready to go and rises up the ranks, I hope you're not champ, because I don't want to see a friend get screwed over. He made it very clear he may still like Joe, but he's going to lose that title. I'm fine with this. This was a good opening segment. Not everyone's going to be fond of it because it was pretty long, but it needed to be done. And I'm glad it was done. And, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, Jay White came out. Yes, I have to do it. When Jay White came out with the guns, and then the Acclaim came out and had that stare down, it's not like it's going to mean a lot for the Undisputed Kingdom. That's another side thing that's going to happen. That's like an old feud, because sooner or later, the Guns and the Acclaimed are going to deal with each other. Now, does that mean the Guns are going to be teaming back up with their father? I can't tell you, but it is obvious that there's going to be a moment they're going to work together, and there's going to be a moment where they're going to fight one another. So that's another old feud that may be brought back from last year. Now, opening the International Championship, Orange Cassidy versus Dante Martin. Now, I said, and I'm still standing by it, that Dante looks a bit different compared to the way he used to wrestle. Since he broke his ankle really bad, and glad he's walking, his wrestling seems a bit different. He seems to be a little bit more power than he is being very gymnastically inclined. Not saying he didn't do what he normally did, but if you notice during the match, and it feels a little empty because there was no time to really build into it to make Dante mean something. That's one of the problems that AEW has. They're not building the people they have that can get somewhere. Dante could get somewhere if they would just build his character more. They don't do it. They just throw matches at him. And in this situation, that's what we got. We got a match for the International Championship with no build other than, okay, you want the chance, here you go. And that's from, I wish they wouldn't do that. But during the match, you can tell Dante was being more of a pro wrestler than a high flyer. Even though he did a lot of high flying, you could see that it was like this. High flying, pro wrestling. Now it looks a little closer because it was like this and this. Now it looks a little closer. So it looks like he's deciding to be a little more muscled, a little more physical than being just jumping all over the place. I think it suits him more. I'm kind of glad that he's doing that more. Doesn't mean he wasn't still doing the flip that he's known to do. But notice that, if you didn't notice, not that he was sloppy at it, that he didn't do it as much. So I think that was the best thing for him. Yes, he lost. Yes, everyone else came out along. Hook, Danhausen, and the rest of his group went on. Well, Top Flight and Andretti, his brother, and Andretti came out. Well, I'm kind of confused what happened at the end, because they shook hands, pushed the hand away, but then they did it again. I would have liked to see, and this would have been a character development for Dante Martin, to walk away. Instead of shaking hands twice. It would have been better. He did shake his hand, but he threw it away, and there was an attitude, and then you would have had something more. The first match they had together, he lost against Orange, and then the ref is going, and Hook and Danhausen have a little bit of attitude. And that could have been something, but no, they didn't go anywhere. And that's sad, except for Orange Cassidy eating a chip from Hook. Ugh, that was a waste. Now, the first match of Mariah May versus Queen Manita, I believe. I can't pronounce her name, just Queen. Queenie, who has been seen on AEW Dark. I'm sure Jesse's going to recognize her because he used to review or watch Dark a lot. So, what was her name? Mattia. Antia. I think that's her name. Amtia. Queen Amtia versus Mariah. Well, May, let me give it to you like this. When you look at Mariah May, you look like an early version of Tiffany Stratton. That's what she looks like. I'm being honest here. She reminds me of Tiffany Stratton. An early version of Tiffany. That's the way she feels. And when she worked, Tiffany Stratton is a way better wrestler than Mariah May. I'm being honest here. She just looks better. She does. Not because she has more boobs than Mariah May. It's just that she looks more polished. And even though Mariah May was in Stardom in Japan, she didn't really look very polished. Now, when it came to Queen Antia, she looked, I'm not going to tell you she looked like trash, because she didn't. But she did look like someone who's never been on TV, but is well trained. and she didn't look that good. Now that there's no more AEW Dark or Dark Elevation, and as far as I know, she has been seen on ROH TV, it shows. If she was really having more time if she went to ROH TV and then showed up here, she would have more time to be developed, to be able to be in front of a camera. Here, nope. So it was sloppy. In the end, I didn't expect May had to win. If she had lost, it would look dumb. But she won. She did her stick about being happy that she won and that this is what she dreamed of as a little girl, and she's now in America in AEW TV, and a tasteless Toni Storm, my girl, may not be there, but she wants her to realize that this is her time. We get a gift. And pain. Let's make it clear. We get a gift. Deonna Purrazzo shows up on All Elite Wrestling. Okay. I think, I could be still wrong, I think the rumors were wrong about Mercedes Moné. Because if Mercedes comes in after Deonna Purrazzo, it's going to take away from Deonna. And that's going to be a mess. But Deonna shows up, gets in the ring because they were in New Jersey. She makes it clear that we don't need a tasteless Toni Storm in New Jersey. We don't like her. And clearly, this is her home. And we get a little bit of action between the two. And now, the very first match, I'm sure, because Deonna Purrazzo is now an All Elite wrestler. She is signed. Whether it's 6 months, a year, doesn't matter. She is now signed to All Elite Wrestling. We'll have her probably going against Mariah May. And Mariah May will get her ass whooped. Because let's make it clear, if you've never seen Impact Wrestling, I have for years, and I've watched Deonna. The girl can wrestle, and she holds a good ability on the stick. She can talk. She can hold a character. So, counting on how they book her is going to be the big question. Let's move on to Kateska versus Darby Allin. I'm not going to tell you the match was bad because it was not. I'm not going to tell you it wasn't brutal because it was. In the end, let's make it clear. Kateska won. What? So Darby Allin jobbed for Kateska. Impressive. Finally doing something with Kateska. But then, what have they been doing with Kateska for months before? They didn't do nothing with him. So now, they're finally doing something with him in the beginning of the new year. But the question is going to be, what is that? Is he going after the International Championship? The Continental Crown? TNT Championship? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see here. What did I feel about Christian Cage putting over Shayna Wayne, Nick Wayne, and himself? Good. Did it do something for Luchasaurus? Yes. It made him really sympathetic, but still, he hasn't turned yet. And now, Adam Copeland is not there, which is fine. Which is good. The question is, where do they go with Christian Cage now? Or better yet, where does Christian and Adam go with this story? Because it's going to be an interesting story. I'm not going to cover all the details of what he said because it doesn't really need to be. The question is, where is Christian and Adam going to take this story? Now, let's see. Should I... Let me give it to you like this. The Fatal 4-Way for the number one contender shot for the Continental Crown. I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry. Why was this second to last? Why? Why did they set this up now? Why is Eddie defending on Collision? Can you guys tell me? Kingle, you got Trent, you got Brian Keefe, the bounty hunter, and you got Brian Cage. Of course, Trent won, but that's not the point. I'm glad Trent won because they want to do something, but why is it being done so quickly? Why are you not building up Eddie? Yes, it's good to see they're going to put on Collision, and this could be the beginning of Eddie being the face of Collision. But couldn't you wait at least a week or two to build up Eddie? To give him a moment to talk in the ring? Because Eddie's one of the best freaking talkers there is. He's the best talker in the company. By my perspective, there's a few others. He is the best to me personally. And you don't even give him a couple of weeks to really build up his character to make it mean something. They just throw the match out there, and now it's going to happen this Saturday. And I don't agree with it. And worse, it wasn't even the closing of the show. Finally, Strickland versus Garcia. Let's make it clear. Daniel Garcia did do very well last year. Swerve Strickland is really doing well. They have their match. Prince Nana does his dance. D. Garcia does his dance. Daddy Match and Naman is at commentary cheering on his boy. And it was a good situation. But then you see where I was saying New Year, old feuds. Because when it was all said and done, what we got early in the night when you see Hangman Page angry at anybody, even Daddy Magic, because of what happened with the Undisputed Kingdom beating the crap out of him, making him an example. I didn't really think they would actually be crazy enough to go there with him and Strickland again. And that's exactly what they did. He comes to the ring because he just wants to fight somebody. He's facing Strickland, and now they're fighting again. Now, there's going to be people that's going to love this. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to hate this because they want to see more for Strickland. Because this feels like a step back for him. This, to me, feels like they don't have anything set up for him yet. It feels like nearing the end of his run when he was in the Continental Classic, Tony did not have an idea what he wanted to do with Strickland. But he knew he had to do something going forward with him. So he teamed him back up with Hangman Page. And now the question is going to be, how long is this going to last before they have something for him in the next 2, 3, or 4 months? Because they got to give him something. People want to see him in the main title scene. And even though he mentioned Joe in his interview, which Renee Paquette did a lot of interviews, he can't go up against Joe now because they don't got anybody ready for Joe yet. They don't have Warlow. He's not ready. Strickland can't go after Joe because they really didn't have a way to go after Joe because they don't really have a connection. Bryan Danielson is not there. He's not going to be set up for Strickland. So they got to set something up. So it's going to probably take 3 or 4 months if they got anything. Hopefully. Good opening, but it's obvious. New year, old feuds. It's just me. Peace.